Hello everyone, my name is Olivia, and in today's video I will be recreating the rose look that I wore for the Wrapunzel Renaissance Festival photo shoot. Now I do have the original rose attached to the recreated under wrap here. I just could not bring myself to undo this, so I tied it onto my friend here. If you look in the background of my videos since the photo shoot, you can totally see her hanging out over my right shoulder. I think my left shoulder, over one of my shoulders. She's kind of hanging out there back in the background. So I'm gonna say this is definitely a fussy wrap. It takes a bit of time to accomplish, and you're gonna need a moderate amount of items to do it. The first thing I need here for the entire wrap is the Bobo shaper. I did wrap the under wrap over the Bobo, so I've got my white Bobo on hand. I have here a Petalsoft scarf. When I went to the photo shoot, I was wearing a darker one, and I think it was a milk chocolate, and then I switched into this beautiful one after some photos were taken. So I've got a Petalsoft here. Now I've got a brooch, and I've got some feathers. Now the feathers are a little tattered and kind of sorry looking right now because I had to wrestle them away from Mr. Micah, but these are just ostrich, inexpensive ostrich feathers that I had on hand. My friend is coming to join me. Yes, we're careful. He's sitting on the, I'm gonna tilt this down. He's sitting on the cranberry that I'm going to be using. Since I didn't want to take apart the other one, my goodness, I didn't want to take apart the red one. I'm going to be using the Dusty Rose for today's demonstration. If Micah allows me, he is now laying on it. And the last thing I'm going to need is a Sari strip. Sari strip. And then to hold everything together, I have some pins. These are 2-inch long pins with these really great heads on them. I purchased more of these, this particular pack, and I had lost them, so I'm excited that I found them. But the pins will help keep the spiral for the rose. I have a lot of pins in here to keep this shape and to pin it to the tie. Okay, that way I didn't have to actually pin it to my head. I didn't want to have to, when I was doing the photo shoot, I wanted to be able to change wraps and then put it back on because I liked this one so much. So I thought the idea of pinning the big flower to a Sari strip, that way I could tie it on and untie it and not have to worry about pins and stuff. All right, now if I can get my friend here to move. Come on dude, I know it's comfy. You can lay over here on this scarf. No, he's back. Oh my goodness. Come lay on this one. Oh my goodness, it's never dull when you're a cat mom. All right, buddy, come on, up and out. All right there. There you go. All right, I'm going to tilt the camera down. I'm in, and I meant to say this before, but I'm in my dining room, working at working at the dining room table. Oh my goodness. I'm working at the dining room table to recreate this because my desk is not big enough to do all of the work. So I'm going to tilt the camera down now to show you how I did this. Now this, no Micah, back away. You lay over there. The cranberry I have folded into thirds. Just folding the first side. The first side up, not worrying about the fringes, to the center, or just over the center fold. And then the second side, I folded over, making sure to fold in just a little bit to hide those fringes. And then I folded it over. Okay, now it's just laying flat out. I'm going to just pinch in the center here, and I'm going to spin. And then as I spin, I'm going to adjust around the scarf. Just kind of get all those pleats, just spin it in a circle. Like so. Now, when I get it to here, I'm going to grab a pin and I'm just going to stab it in like so. It just will give me a way to hold that center in. I'm going to go around here and do the same thing. Let me see if I can spin this so that I can show you. I'm just going to stab in. I'm stabbing in straight and then spinning sideways just to grab more of the fabric. Keep adjusting. Okay. And then just where I see or I think that I need to add a pin to hold the shape, I am going to do that. So I am going to be adding a pin over in this area. So again, stabbing in, turning. It's hard to do there. Okay, spin around. So I'm stabbing in, and there we go. And then I'm going to grab my hand this way and do some more spinning and adjusting. And it's, again, this part is really, really fussy, and it will turn out slightly different depending on the scarf you're using. Even the cranberries, some of them are stiffer than others. The day. Okay, put that in there. So just like a true rose, these will be a little bit different each time you do them. Okay, so I'm going to stuff this pin here. And continue with the spinning. And now here, I like the way this looks. Tuck that under. So I'm going to take another one of these. Now, I'm not worried about seeing the pins. If you didn't want to see the pins, I would suggest using pins that have clear crystal heads or glass heads. Those really work well. That's what I used in the other one because that's what I had at the time. But I think these particular pins go really well with this scarf. So again, I'm just going to continue to bring around. Okay, pin in here. I'm going to adjust this just a little bit. Down into here. Okay, Now I have another space, bringing this around. Okay. And I'm just going to be stabbing in. Okay, so this is what we have right now. See if I can get this angle down a little bit more. This is what we have right now. I am going to be adding more pins into this because it's pretty floppy right now at this point. Just adding in pins. Okay. Now, when I get this to be pretty stable, I'm going to flip it over and put pins in the other side because I think it'll make it a little bit more stable. Okay, so I'm over, and then this is the underside. So I can see right here we're going to need some pins, and at this point, because this is the underside, it doesn't have to be as neat. So what I'm going to do is just stab pins every place, because this will be helpful in holding things together, and you won't see them, so they don't have to be as neat. Okay. All right, now this spot, I'm going to grab at the edge, and bring it down and pin it in. Okay, the same with this one. Just to hold it in place. Okay. Let me see about this one here. Pin. And I'm going to pin this down under here. Okay, let's see if I flip it over. Okay, so I've got so far this. Now, if there's a spot that you see that you're not pleased with, okay, I see this spot here. You can add a couple of pins and just okay. So overall, I'm pretty pleased with the shape of it. The center piece was coming up, so I took the pin in the tip, brought it down, and then just poked it in. So I could probably do a better job hiding it. By doing that. Okay. And depending on how long you fuss with this, or how picky you you know, you are with neatness and perfection, it could take a little bit of time to get it. Okay, so that is our rose. Now I'm going to flip it back over and I'm going to attach the Sari strip. Now I gave myself a couple of different choices, but I think I'm going to go with this particular one. So I am going to fold it in half, making sure it's in half. I'm going to lay it in the center, center it inside of our rose, open back up. This one happens to be imperfect, so please forgive the threads that are hanging. I'm going to take some pins and run them down into the scarf. These first ones, I'm just going down into the cranberry and then coming up. But these other ones, I will be going, the next set of pins, I'm going to be going down, just trying to catch as much of the rose petals as possible as I go out. Now, if you're afraid you're going to stab yourself with a pin, go towards the center. You head out here and pin this direction. I'm not worried about it. I'm pretty confident that I'm not going to stab myself. So I'm going to do the same thing over here. I'm going to go down and just catch as many of these petals as possible. And then on this side, you'll get to see stabbing down at the outside and working in. Stabbing down here, and then working way in as much as I can. Same out here. Too far in, okay. Just like so. And then I'm going to put another pin right here, just to hold this on better in the center. And the same over here, just right smack dab in the center of the Sari strip. Okay. All right, so you should be able to lift this up, no worries. Here's the rose on the strip. So I can see this piece here got a little wild. And we'll stick it back in and take a pin, stick it back in there. And I'm trying to catch it on the camera, but I'm just sticking it in and pinning it as best I can to hold it down in place. There we go. Okay, so you can see. I think that'll be good. I think that'll be good. Over here now, down here, I see a little weak point down here, so I'm gonna lift this pot. I'm gonna lift it. I'm going to come up from the bottom and stab and push in. So that should be much better. Get rid of these. Okay, so this is how I created the rose for you. Oops. And you can see it's pretty stable. I just flipped over. That's pretty stable. It's not gonna fall apart with that amount of pins. So I am going to pause it and get the Bobo on and get ready for the under wrapping, and then I will be right back. Okay, time for the under wrap. Since Micah has decided that the white Petalsoft is his, I ran upstairs and grabbed the milk chocolate one. I'm going to be opening this one up fully, and then I'm going to be folding over just a little bit at the front, like so. Now I've already tied on my Bobo. Okay. What I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be flipping this around and dropping it behind me. I'm going to be tying this on up here. Okay. And see, drop this up here. I'm going to bring these to, try to get them equal. And this is the fussy part. Okay. I'm going to tie them in the back, just these two little corners. And tuck in the, see I have these two little tiny tails. I'm going to tuck them in at the sides of the Bobo, so they're secure. Okay. All right, now I have this really long piece. Bringing it over my left shoulder. It's very long. Okay. I am folding this into thirds. I'm going to fold in the back first, then the front. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring this tail up, around, and back through on this side. So I'm going to bring it up and around. Now I don't need it all the way up here. Bringing it up, around. I'm keeping my hand in here because I need to know where this pocket is. So when I come back around with all of this scarf, I can just reach through and grab, like so. Okay. So this is what we have so far, and I will spin around to show you the back. It's nice and neat. Okay. Now I'm going to take this piece here, make sure it's neat. I'm going to bring it around on my chin and neck, like so. Bringing it up here. Now I could take this through this piece just like I did on this side, but I find that I like the option of taking it down. So I just pinned it here, and I also don't like the way this looks, so I'm going to be tucking that in the back. Okay, so I'm grabbing these long pins here, and when I pin it, I'm going to try to be careful not to stab myself, but I'm going to stab into the scarf, this back here, and I'm catching a bit of the Bobo, and I'm just kind of working my way up to catch the scarf, and then ending up with the tip of the pin inside of the Bobo. So I have this. Now I'm going to continue bringing this around. Again, if you don't want to see this piece, you can find the pocket and pull it through. Oops, I just undid that. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to do 2 pins here. I didn't originally, but we're going to end up with 2. So, okay. I did forget to say, I want to bring this up, but I want to keep it sort of even with this side. I don't want it to be up here or down here. I wanted to keep it as close to even with this side as possible. So we're gonna do one from the bottom and one from the top. This is just gonna have to be that way. Okay, and then do the one from the top. Just careful not to stab myself. Now I can wear this one under here or on here. Either way works. Okay, so I'm going to be bringing this one back and tucking it as I can back here. Okay. So I will turn around and show you. Okay, now I can definitely see this pin, but when we take our flower and place it here, you won't see it. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick up the flower and I'm going to place it on my head, like so. Making sure these guys are flat. Okay. Doing a little crisscross applesauce in the back. I'm going to come back up and behind, up and behind. And I'm going to just, so the placement of these strips when I bring it back up and I'm going to tie behind is on top of the Bobo last frill. Now I can do this right here just to show you when I tie them, just a quick tie, double knot. We'll double knot it and tuck in the ends. Okay, so let me go back and do it the appropriate way underneath. And replace, the placement is up to you, whether to have it further back or further forward, more on top or more to the side. Turning your head also helps if you are going to be having it. And I'm cheating. Okay, I'm going to cheat here. I didn't do this, but I'm going to tie a knot back here. It seems to want to be slippery today. So I'm just tying a knot, and then I'm going to take these guys up behind the flower. I'm going to tie another quick knot, so a little square knot. Say double knot, but square knot. And tuck in those ends. I can bring this around and tuck it in up under here. Okay, so this is what I've got so far. And again, I'm going to adjust this back just a little bit. Okay. Now, if you feel like it's not secure, a couple of pins in, one down at the bottom here and one at the top here will work. Just catch the Bobo at the frill portion, and that should be sturdy. I mean, and if you're going out doing listen to some heavy metal and headbanging, you might want to really glue this thing on, but this should be perfect. I'm going to adjust this camera up a little bit. Okay. All right. So I have that. Now for the feather edition. When I wore this for the photo shoot, I had my decoration at the bottom. Having it at the top was too high for driving. I couldn't, it was brushing the ceiling and I was afraid I was gonna break these. So I totally put them down here. It's your choice. I think both are appropriate, but what I did is I took this guy, or these guys, and I laid them on here. Got them in about where I wanted them, and I pinned this over top. And of course you're gonna misbehave. Catching a few of the petals of the rose. So it's just turned just like this. Okay. Now again, if you find things aren't exactly right, I'm not pinning this on my head, I'm just pinning this piece up a little bit into the rose. But this is it. The rose wrap I wore for the Renaissance photo shoot. So one last thing. When I had some really cool fun. This came up and could be used to cover my face. So when I was in shops and stuff and looking at fun stuff at the Renaissance Festival, I just pulled this straight up. Now, if you wanted it more appropriate for what's going on health-wise lately, a filter can be placed inside of here. One of those disposable filters can be placed in here, and it doesn't add too much bulk down here because it's open anyway. So when you bring it up, it does filter out more of those, I don't want to say pathogens, but it filters out the stuff that we need filtering from and works as a proper face mask. So, okay. Now, I hope you've enjoyed this video. I hope it's been helpful. Let me know. Have a wonderful day. I will see you in the next tutorial.